All right. Understanding rshares, how they work, the equation and whatnot. It's actually it's not too terribly difficult. This isn't a beginner's type post at all. Here's the here's the actual post with some information. We're going to be using the equation, which they have right here. This equation, okay, and then we'll compare it to. They've given you a couple of points along the way. It's not a very easy equation. Neil McSpadden has figured it out, a way to kind of figure it out. But I don't know how to figure it out beyond what he's been able to do. But we can look at 100 chests and to see, is it going to be possible? I have gone through and over here, my spreadsheets aren't organized quite as well as Neil's. They're not. They're not labeled as well. They work just they work great though. So all right, so we have an equation for we have a list of how the ECR goes down every time you play. Therefore, if you play 30 in a row, you can expect it to go down to about 30 or 73.9, and the average between all of these is 85.9. So we could put in that sort of ECR. I put in 86 because between the time you start and finish, your ECR has already gone up. I mean, you could probably even put 87 in there if you want. 88 depends on how many breaks you've got going on, of course. And so realistically, it will go up. Your ECR will go up about 25, 26, 25 points a day. So that's why they tend to say 30. Though in my estimation, it's probably 29 games a day is probably the optimal amount for your ECR. But let's stick with 30. And then here's the win rate, of course. So I've done a bunch of checks in here, like what if I won every one of them? So that's one, right? So here's the ECR average if you played 30 in a row. And then we're going to look at the different bonuses, of course. So if you didn't have any golds, any alphas, any betas, but you won every single game, then you would also get a bonus, a win bonus of 0.5. Now, in your first 10 or so games, it would ramp up to that. But let's just, for all intents and purposes, go with 5, even though technically in a perfect season of 450 games, you still couldn't get an overall 0.5 across all 450 games. It'd be something like 0.49 something. But we're just going easy peasy numbers. And then with lodges, that was something I looked at. It's pretty easy to get, even if you were a bot network, you could just buy yourself some lodges or some guilds, level them up pretty easily, and get a 3% boost. Okay, so if we went in here, looked at buildings, so you could easily get to a level 3 with about 40,000 here, 40,000 DEC to get to a level 3, and then your lodge at level 3 would get you a 3% boost. Okay, so not a huge investment. Maybe some people or bots or whatever wouldn't be terribly interested in that. Maybe it's not a good return on investment, but we're going to put in the 3% at least. So let's say, I mean, if you're a perfect player, that's why I put like a 6%, because if you like win every single game, you're going to be recruited to be in some pretty good leagues. So this is just kind of a way to see what is the maximum. 100% win, 30 games in a row, no gold, alpha, beta, and a 6% lodge. And so I went through with these numbers. Also, keep in mind, these are highs. These aren't realistic, because when you go down in from 4,700, let's look at that as well. So let's go to battle. Let's look at here. You go to champion, 4,700. You're going to reset to 3,400. Okay. So how long is that going to take to get you back up to 4,700? I don't know how many games. of your 450, but it's going to be a decent amount. Now, if you won every single one of them, obviously a lot less time. Something between 40, let's say 4,700 minus 3,400. Oh, we got to put an equal sign before that. Sorry. Live spreadsheeting. It's 1,300 points that you need to go up. And let's say that takes your average going up, let's say 25. So that's 50 of your 450 games that you're just going up. And of course, this isn't real either, because if you won every single game, you would go way above 4,700. So champion, it kind of breaks down. But on these other ones, that's fine, because if you won every single game in gold, you still can't have a rating that goes above 2799 for these purposes. So let's figure it out. This is power. You take this cubed. This is how you do the cube function. If anyone out back home wants to do it on Google Sheets, that's the cube function. And so you come up with this number. And then you'll need to, for its actual thing, you'll need to divide it. You know, take that number, divide it by 1,000, times it by your ECR, the average ECR, and then add 1 plus all of those bonuses together, all of these bonuses. And then you assume that you have all starter cards. So in general, you're looking at 1 million rshares per win. Now, we're playing 30 games, 1.3 million. We're playing 30 games and winning them all. The win rate's 1. And that means 40 million per day. And if we say that a season is 15 days, that's 601 million. So you see how that works? And then I went and did it on all of these others. But then again, remember, these numbers aren't going to be exact. There's no way in a season you will always have 1,899 silver, because you will drop down, and on your way back with whatever, like 20, 30 games or something to that effect, you'll have lower ratings while you get back up to that. Okay, does that make sense? So these numbers are always high. 600, 4.1 billion, 13, 30. So let's see what a perfect player that just doesn't have any bonuses would get. Let's go take a look. I kind of want to copy paste these over there. Let's take a look. All right, I've inputted them from the document so we can see them all together here. So to get the 100 chest, you're looking at 966 million, which is even if you won every single game, you played 30 games in a row, no gold, no alpha, all that sort of stuff, you're not going to hit the 966, okay? Now, if you played every hour, once per hour, then your ECR is going to be at 0.99. You're still at 692. So without any of these other bonuses, you're not going to hit the 100 chests in bronze, okay? Now you could add in maybe a couple of gold cards. Now you're at 780. You could add in maybe a couple of betas. Now you're at 820, and you could be in a higher level guild by a little bit. You're at 830. We're still a little bit of ways away. 2 betas. Let's say you got 2 promos. Oh, we're still a little bit further away. There's nothing else we can really add in there. Maybe 3 of them are gold. Let's say 4 of them are gold. There we go. So you've played with an average of 4 gold cards, and 2 of them are alpha, 2 of them are beta, and there's some games where you can't even play all 7 cards. All that, it's just going to be very, very hard to hit 100 chests. Now, if you maxed out 7 gold, 7 alpha, see, I'll show you what I did here. 7 gold, 7 alpha, that means 0 beta. So you were assuming that every game you could play all 7 cards. Also not possible. And you won every game, and you played once per hour Then you're at the 1.3, and you were in a lodge. Sorry, a really good lodge. And you're looking at 1.37. This is like over here. This column is like perfection. It's not going to happen. Sorry. All right. 1.3. And so you say, well, that's going to be really hard to get 100 chests. Yes, it is. The point is to get 100 bronze chests, you're probably going to have to start playing in silver. And then it shouldn't actually be terribly difficult to get 100 chests. Then the next season, you'll have to play in silver and get those chests. But as Neil did a video showing that the rewards from a silver chest are like 3 times better than bronze. I don't actually remember the exact numbers, but yeah, you want to move up. So all of these numbers here are about people that do not move up. Okay, that do not move up. It's a whole different ball game if you are earning bronze chests, but you start playing in silver or even gold. You may actually hit the 100 chests very easily, maybe 150 chest max as well. So there you go. You'll hit your 150 chest max. Not too terribly difficult. It'll probably give you a lot of rshares to also hit a really high number of daily focus chests as well. But back to this, we didn't program this in here with moving up in mind. So perfect season here, perfect season, but not as many bonuses. You see what the bonuses will do though? And also, this was once per hour, and this is 30 games in a row, so this has a big impact on the ECR. Let's take a look between 1.37 and zero point 0.8, let's say 0.87, 30 in a row. You're looking at 200 million, 200 and, no, 160 million less, which isn't a huge deal. All right, so now that we see that 100 chests may be really difficult if you don't move up on at least bronze, let's check out silver. It's less difficult. It's it's yeah, a little bit less difficult to reach that. Like a couple of bonuses will get you there if you win most of your games. Now, if you're a 75% or a 50% winner, right, and you do 30 in a row, okay, then you're talking it's going to be a lot harder. 50% winners, even with a little bit of bonuses, it's going to be harder to hit the 100 chests. You're going to need, but to hit the 50 chests, a walk in the park. 667 million? That's like, I didn't even have an equation that was that low. 40% win rate with no bonuses. Um, this is like a bot playing, right? They play once an hour. They don't have a very good win rate. They're in a kind of a cheap lodge. They have no alphas, no betas, no golds. They're looking at something over 50 chests. It's somewhere between 50 and 100. It's I don't know. 60 chests. I feel like they could do it. 40% win rate. So there you go. So what does that equal? What does 60 chests equal, I guess, is the question. Also, this is still unfair. Harken back to when I talked about how this 1899 average across 450 games, right? 391 wins. That's impossible. So it's not great to have that in, but like what number was I going to choose? So I just chose those high numbers so we could see kind of like a limit of sorts. So, all right. So 667, actually pretty doable. 70 million. Look at all these numbers. They're all way above 70. So hitting 50 chests, pretty doable. I feel like most players that will play most of their games should expect 50 chests. But I don't think you should always expect 100. I think it's hard, and it probably should be. Look, with all the bonuses enabled, you're talking you're talking 30 you're talking 30 million, 30 billion. You're talking a walk in the park. You probably are getting your 150 chests easily. um and maybe the same for silver, like I don't know. I don't know how many chests you're going to get on that, but it's probably going to push you to move into gold, to playing in gold while earning the silver chests that season. But the next season, you're going to be going after them golds. Okay? A little bit lower win rate, probably. All right. So, what else is interesting here? It feels easier to hit the 21.4 billion needed for champion. But that's when I put 4,700 in there. And let's be honest, I mean, it starts around 3,700. You're not going to get to champion right away. The whole league kind of slowly gets there. Now, champion rates may go higher than 4,700 in those seasons because people now in champion are playing like 200 games on average, maybe 220 ish. We're talking almost a doubling of the number of games. So the ratings are going to go much higher in general, is my guess. So where do you actually put that number? Do you put it at 4,400 for a champion? I mean, 4,700 is top champion. Let's say 4,200. Let's say 4,200 champion with like champion's hard. Let's say 40% win rate. And most of these people aren't programming things to play once an hour. Let's say they get their average ECR to 90. And let's say they have, I mean, you can't always play gold cards all the time. Like you can't play 7 because there's some games where you just can't play 7 cards. But let's say they have a couple of alphas, a couple of betas, and 3 golds on average, and they're not going to get this win bonus either. They're going to be lucky to get a 0.1. Like a perfect is 0.5 because you're winning every one and it goes up to its max. But if you're 40%, then you're lucky to get an average of a win rate of that. And your lodge is starting at 15% and going to 20%. How fast do you get there? Not sure. This is like top level lodges. There's only like a 100, 200 people in these types of lodges. And they're very expensive, hard to get into. Let's say it's a 17% because it's between 15 and 20 with probably the bulk in the 15. So let's take a look at that now. 40% win rate. I mean, this is a pretty decent champion level player. They may get up to 4,700, but probably took them a little bit of time, especially when they're losing more than they win. But when people's ratings go up above 47, 48, then they start beating a couple of those people that are at 47, 48, and they'll jump up because of that a little bit faster. So let's say they get up to a rating of, an average rating of 4,200. Then we're talking 21.6 billion. I didn't even plan this, folks. That's kind of crazy. Like a average, decently average champion player is barely going to hit the 100 chests. That's my thinking. So not like unreasonably hard. 40% isn't like you're an amazing player, but there you go. So, they're definitely going to hit the 6.8. I mean, if you don't play all that often, let's say you play half the amount, but you have a good win rate, and you have some good cards here, and you're in a decent lodge. All right, so this is some of the Mavericks out there. Like um, that are playing that are winning 112 games a year. I mean, a season. Let's take a look. The leader last season. That's what we need to look at. So we look at last season, and these people played 300, or they won 180, 200, 200. So there were a decent amount that played quite a few games. They got up to 4795. So me putting 4700 in there was even a stretch. Um, and look at Jace, Jasic W or Jace KW. Pretty amazing here to hit number one spot. But we're going to see it be interesting as he goes from playing maybe 160 to up to 450, right? So where's someone that played somewhere around 450 games? Kind of that optimal. So 411. So a little bit higher than average, I guess. That's crazy. So like 50, 60%. Let's say I don't know, 15 games, but you have a higher win rate, 70%. And that probably means your rating is a little bit higher on average. And because you're playing 15, then I calculated at the average if you played them all in a row at 92. Let's say it takes them a little bit of time to get that done. So we're going to say 93%. And they're in a good lodge and they have a better win rate. Say they get up into that bonus more often, maybe the 0.1, maybe they get 0.3 a few times, and then they have to play a few games with 0 win bonus. So in average, we're looking at 0.1. Those types of people aren't going up. I mean, they're still going to do a little bit better. A higher win rate. Look at that. They're playing half the amount of games, but they're winning more often. Half the amount of, let me repeat that again. Half the amount of games, but they're winning 20% more often. They're going to get more chests. If you play less games, but you win more often, you could win more chests. Seasonal chests, and probably daily focus chests as well. So just kind of fun numbers to play with. If anyone has like something they want me to throw in here, and before anyone asks, this spreadsheet is part of some other spreadsheets that are part of work, so I will not be sharing it. And I don't really feel like moving it somewhere else. I just like having it here where I do all my other sort of work as well. So I don't like having tons of sheets, tons of documents, I should say. Obviously, I have lots of sheets in here, like 19. But there you go. Look, and if they don't have the golds, which a decent amount of them don't have golds, even these people that are winning a lot, playing a lot of playing a decent amount per day with a good lodge and good win rate, even if they have alpha and beta, if they don't have any golds, it's going to be pretty hard to hit the 100 mark. Now, it's not all or nothing. You don't just get 100 or nothing. They're probably still going to get like 95, 96, 92, and that's fine. So, that's a little bit of how rshares works. Now, I'm just throwing in numbers, but these aren't real numbers. I don't know for sure that anyone like this is going to exist that has this sort of rating and ECR and combination and all that sort of stuff. So, just guesses, but I hope you enjoyed it. And if there are any issues with the math, I'd love to hear it. I would correct it. And I'd almost suspect there's a lot of things going on. I'm not getting paid to like triple check it. but I found a thing here or there, maybe that I've already corrected. It seems pretty good to me, but I thought I'd share that. And have a good day.